Grand Rising, good living, top of the sunrise to you. I hope everybody is well in mind, body, and spirit. 10 fingers, 10 toes, eyes, ears, and nose. This is spiritual warfare. I hope you have on the right clothes, because every fight in battle is always full of foes. So happy Thursday, almost Friday to you. I'm en route to downtown Salt Lake to see my wife once again at the hospital. Man, enduring a lot of mental challenges as of late. Recently, I found out that I have to vacate the premises. So I have to vacate base housing. We received a notice to vacate because there's a military family inbound that has a special needs family member, and of course family members of active duty, Guard or Reserve have priority. So as it stands now, we have 30 days to vacate. If you're aware of our situation, you know I retired 3 years ago. We were subsequently moved to another unit for medical justification because of my wife's situation, and essentially we're up against the clock now to move on. There's a myriad of thoughts and feelings that have gone through my mind that I've been experiencing. A lot of it being fear, just fear of the unknown, fear of what's to come, fear of how the hell am I going to pull this move off. I have no idea, and as of now, I have not told Samara. Hopefully we get to discuss that today. But there's already a lot of things in the air, particularly with their medical health, that have kind of put me in a situation where I'm trying to be close to chest on certain things. Just playing the strategic route and try not to overwhelm an already intense and overwhelming situation. But bad news doesn't get better the longer that you don't deliver it. So at some point, you got to shit or get off the pot. Much like our situation, you got to shit or get off the pot. So this is an instrumental message in regards to comfort zone. Comfort zone can breed contention, and therefore contention can breed a lack of hunger. And that's detrimental if you're not always on the move. If you're in the military, you're used to being on the move. Most of us are used to being on the move every 3 to 4 years. If you're overseas, every 1 to 2 years. If you're doing a remote or in-place deployment, things of that nature, depending on your branch of service, but it's pretty much the same flavor, minus some nuances. So it's kind of in a lot of ways, it's very similar to military life, and haven't really got away from the military lifestyle, being that we're on base, being that we're already in a situation proximity-wise, the convenience, the grocery store, the gas station, the movie theater, everything is right there. So we really haven't had to want for much. And it's worked out in our favor because of Samara's on again, off again situation going in and out of the hospital. Just the security blanket, the just knowing that we always have a safety net. And this is just a situation that is a humbling reminder that safety nets can be a detriment sometimes if you're not moving forward and moving in the right direction. For me, I've made it a concerted effort to, just a personal decision, not to work for the federal government or work for the military. This is my own personal decision based on some experiences towards the end, based on my experiences with my own mental health and how that was kind of handled, some experiences in regards to the workload and just the eventual admission to a mental hospital just being way too overwhelming to handle. And to be honest with you, some of that is resentment. Resentment for how certain people treated me. And it may not be the be-all, end-all to how the grand machine of the military felt about my contributions, but that's how I was perceived. So there's a lot of fear of the unknown and what's to come. And we're in a situation financially, we're okay, but we're not nearly as comfortable as we'd like to be. Certainly not with me working, but I bring in a healthy paycheck between the disability and the retirement pension. I'm 100% disabled. Samara works when she can, teleworking, and when that's stable and consistent, it's a great addition to what we're already bringing in from what my harvest, if you will, post-military. And when she's not, it puts us in a situation where we have to tighten the belt. So that's not really saying very much, because there's a lot of people in this world, a lot of people across this nation that are really, really hurting and really battling the cost of living and trying to figure out what they're going to do paycheck to paycheck. So again, just a humbling reminder, and that's really put me in a situation, and very kind of deja vu in a way, for the sense of it's a lot of the same fear that I experienced retiring. What's going to happen now? What does life after the military look like? Things of that nature. But as the saying goes, the show must go on, and I've been really trying to find a way through that. I'm trying to find a way to cultivate my faith, amid being fearful and being scared of an unknown, uncertain situation. With that, I've also had feelings of just anger. Anger that, we even be in this type of situation, given the circumstances surrounding C. It's still uncertainty with that. So it's a plate on top of a plate that turns into a platter that's quite a bit to digest, and it's hard on the stomach. It's hard to stomach. Therefore, it still requires relief. And I don't know exactly how that's going to come about. And that's a lot of why I feel angry and scared about the situation. I felt a lot of anger and guilt towards myself, putting us in this situation, and not being more diligent, not being more, being too comfortable, not being as proactive with looking for work, looking for jobs, looking for opportunity. Now I have, but it just hasn't yielded quite what I've been looking for, especially given our situations. And I know there's not a lot of flexibility and a lot of accommodations that the average company is going to afford us. So I've been looking for mainly telework and other decent paying jobs that, I can kind of dictate my schedule, especially if it's a situation where I got to dip out. I got to pick up C, or I got to drop her off. I got to pick up medication and still continue to do the daddy duties that I've been doing the better part of the last couple of years. So that has its own cross to bear within itself. But with that, I've also had feelings of contentment, feelings of acceptance that, hey, it's time to move. It's time to move on. It's time to evolve. It's time to elevate to the next level. And I can't do that being in this comfort zone. I can't do that with job security sometimes. And sometimes that means being uncomfortable and being scared of the next step, being scared of the next frontier. And so my message to you is, don't be so secure and content that you forget there are seasons, and there are seasons that God really wants you to move and God wants you to elevate. So be open to the fact that you're going to be in situations like this that are going to really test you, that are going to test your fervor, that are going to test your faith, and really test your commitment to, being better, being a better you, your relationship with God, and your prayer life, and what that all looks like ultimately as you go forward in the next stage, the next chapter in your life. So that's an instrumental lesson that I'm learning as we speak. Even on this trip, even on this brief 45-minute trip to Salt Lake, I'm still mulling how I'm going to deliver this news. I'm still mulling any potential fallouts emotionally, and how do I maintain my composure and poise to rally the troops? Because make no mistake about it, the show must go on, and at some point I got to take the reins and take charge and take lead of the situation, being the head of household, regardless of what my financial status is. The contributions are there, but again, being a little too complacent and comfortable with what I've been bringing in has really made me blind to the fact that at some point I gotta elevate. At some point, if I'm ever to make the DV project broad scale in any way, success, being monetized, or just making an impact, and that's ultimately what I do it for. But I have to take initiative, and I have to take a step on the ledge. I have to make the jump, as Steve Harvey eloquently said once upon a time. So that's what I'm fighting and battling as we speak. Hence the remix of the intro coming in regards to spiritual warfare and fighting and having foes. There's always going to be foes. There's always going to be someone to fight. There's always going to be something to fight, not someone. For as Ephesians 6 and 12 say, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual powers, evil powers, and wickedness in high places. And make no mistake about it, this has been extremely taxing on my resiliency, my mental health overall, and my ability to just have resolve in the situation. Because quite frankly, going back to my childhood, I've always, and not always, but oftentimes when I went through certain periods, there are usually an avalanche of things happening in any given time. Deaths, hospitalizations there, having issues in school. That's not really nothing special, but challenges nonetheless. Just having a lot of things to manage emotionally and mentally. And fast forward the clock, it's made it increasingly hard to do that now. And I liken it back just to a previous post of mine. I believe it's episode 3. Your triggers are your assignments. Your triggers are assignments. So what you don't work on, and what you don't complete in the realm of passing the test and proving your knowledge and proving that you're ready to elevate, eventually that will rear its ugly head, and that will bring about situations where you have to prove yourself once again. You have to take the test. And perhaps this is one of those situations. I've yet to adequately pass the test at a satisfactory level from a faith standpoint, to the degree that God needs me for and God needs me to do. So this is a situation amidst the growth and progression I've been taking that is going to put said movement to the test. And so I'm hoping, as you move forward in your day, as you move forward in your journey, that you find the resolve, you find the resiliency, you find the moxie within to cultivate your faith to move amid a scary situation. So I haven't really entitled this. This is just a freestyle, all first verse, all off the dome, all off the noodle, if you will. And hopefully you found something in the sauce. Hopefully you found some valuable ingredients that you can use in your day-to-day walk. It's definitely put me in a situation to read more of the Bible, read more of God's promises for me and for our life, to pray more, and to be a lot more strategic in regards to how we move as a family and as a unit. And maybe that's one tool that I can briefly discuss. Make your plans known. Habakkuk 2:2 states, write the vision, make it plain. And us as men, we have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of strategies that we plan to move our family forward. In most cases. But what I've found in my journey in these spaces, in these tribal-like spaces with other men, is that we're close to chess. We're close to chess with our hand and how we play our hand. And quite frankly, we have to be, because there's a lot at stake. There's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of expectations on us. And many times we have to look at the grand picture, because we're the leader of the house. We're the high priest of our home. We're the primary provider and protector in most cases, if not majority of cases. And therefore we have to expand our view, zoom out, and take in the big picture. And sometimes we are not the greatest at communicating our vision long term. Maybe the short term, maybe in purchases, or our contributions and involvement in our kids' life. But in the standpoint of generational wealth and making things better for the children behind us to take the baton, we're not always the greatest at doing that. So Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. So one of those things that I've done is, I forecasted the vision board in my room, so that it's always at a moment's notice and at a glance I can take a look at what that is. But I also make that available and accessible to my family, so they see where I'm at in building this vision and making it plain to view that should I not be able to execute this plan, they could take the playbook and they can run it within reason. So maybe that's something to go forward. That's another reminder that, just because you write a vision, just because you journal, just because you jot certain notes and quotes and things down, doesn't mean that it's always going to manifest. Doesn't mean that it's just going to mysteriously happen. That's a great platform. That's a great intro. That's a great segue to making it happen. Everything starts somewhere, but oftentimes you have to revise that vision. As you continue your journey, as you gain more access to information and the people that can assist you on your path, and your trajectory changes, your end destination may change. So that may require you to change your vision. That may require you to change your focus, change your aim. And this is also another reminder of that our aim, because we're a team, has to change focused. And a lot of times when we move in faith and having that unknown, when our vision and focus changes, we don't always see where God wants us. And there's plenty of examples in the Bible, plenty of examples current day that point to the need to rely on God, to trust God that He's going to provide and He's going to put us in a situation to ultimately come out on top. So that's what I have for you today. Again, I hope that that it's been beneficial, that it's been inspirational to you. You can take something from it. And as I often say in these vlogs or in these streams of consciousness, these breadcrumbs, whatever you want to call it, we have the power and the strength to change our situations when we have faith as a catalyst. And as always, keep swimming, keep building.